At some point, you start to feel it. The exhaustion, the frustration, the quiet resentment creeping in. Every favor, every last minute, "Can you help me out?" chips away at you. But you smile, nod, and say, "Sure." Not because you want to, but because it's what you always do. And because of it, people don't even ask if you're available. They just assume you are, and you don't even get credit for it. Nobody's handing out gold stars for self-sacrifice. No one's stopping mid-conversation like, "Wow, you know what? You've been saying yes so much lately. Let me return the favor." That almost never happens. What actually happens is that the more you give, the more they take. And before you even realize it, you're suddenly carrying a workload that wasn't even yours to begin with. And I know what's on your mind most of the time. You'd probably thinking, "But I don't want to disappoint people." And that's fine. That's a noble thing to do. But, honey, I hate to spit this out to you. If you keep doing this, the only person left disappointed is you. You keep putting others first, but when it's your turn, somehow there's no time, no space for what you need. The things you actually want to do, they get pushed aside. The goals you set for yourself, they stay stuck in maybe someday. And all of these are the consequence of you're too busy making sure everyone else is comfortable. Now, don't get me wrong, helping people is great. Being there for your friends, love that. But there's a massive difference between being a kind human and being a dirty doormat. And if you keep treating yourself as such, you might as well have "welcome" written across your forehead. And it only gets even worse because you've trained people to expect it. Not on purpose, of course, but every time you drop everything to make their lives easier, you're teaching them that your time doesn't matter as much as theirs. And people? Oh, they pick up on that real quick. Suddenly your boundaries are optional, your availability is unlimited, like you're some kind of 24/7 customer service hotline nobody asked for. And your needs suddenly out there floating in the void like a dying star, slowly getting swallowed by a black hole, bright, burning, full of life at first, until they disappear without anyone even noticing. And the most messed up part is that the moment you do start setting boundaries, people act like you've changed, like you're suddenly selfish, like you owe them the version of you that never said no. And let's be honest, that guilt, it hits hard. You start questioning yourself. Am I being mean? Am I a bad friend? What if they get mad at me? The only people who get mad when you set boundaries are the ones who benefited from you having none. They don't miss you. They miss the version of you that never said no, the one who made their life easier at the expense of your own. And did you know that the whole people pleaser thing actually has roots in psychology? Yeah, there's this concept called self-sacrifice bias. Basically, your brain gets a hit of dopamine, like that feel-good chemical, when you make others happy. It's like a little reward system that runs off saying yes, even when you don't want to. And over time, you get addicted to that rush. Feels good in the moment, but it's like eating junk food. Eventually, it leaves you feeling empty and exhausted. It's like you've trained yourself to be the yes man or yes woman in your own life, while your personal happiness and well-being get tossed aside like yesterday's leftovers. And the worst part is that you don't even realize you're doing it until it's too late. The studies on self-sacrifice bias and people-pleasing behavior come from a few key sources. One prominent study is by Dr. Robert Cialdini, a psychologist famous for his work on influence and social psychology. His research on reciprocity and social compliance shows how we're wired to say yes to maintain social harmony. In his book, he explains how this people-pleasing tendency can hijack your ability to say no, trapping you in a loop of overcommitment. Dr. Susan Newman, a psychologist who's spent years studying the people-pleasing trap, also explains that saying yes all the time might give you a quick feel-good rush, but in the long run, it leads to emotional burnout. Your brain gets hooked on that approval high, and eventually you lose sight of who you actually are, like your real self gets buried under a mountain of yeses. And let's not forget Dr. Brené Brown's research on boundaries. She emphasizes that boundaries aren't selfish. They're necessary for emotional health. Saying no isn't rejecting others. It's protecting yourself. So, yeah, Science backs up the fact that while being a people pleaser might feel great in the moment, it's a one-way ticket to burnout and losing yourself. At some point, you've got to face it. Saying yes all the time isn't making you a superhero. It's making you a walking doormat. And honestly, the more you bend over backwards for others, the more they start expecting it like it's a given. They don't even think twice when they ask you for another favor. They just assume you'll say yes, like you don't have your own life to live. And while you're out there playing the role of everyone's emotional support system, who's there for you? Who's asking how you feel? No one? And guess what? That's when the resentment starts to kick in. At first, it's subtle, like a little annoyance here and there. But soon, you're looking at your calendar like it's an endless to-do list, with no space left for you to breathe. And let's be completely honest. When was the last time you said no and felt good about it? It's like you forgot how to say it because you've been too busy being everything for everyone else. The truth is, when you're constantly saying yes, you're telling yourself that everyone else's needs are more important than your own. And if you're being real with yourself, that's a dangerous game. Eventually, you hit a wall, emotionally, mentally, and sometimes even physically. You start feeling like you're running on empty. You're giving out all your energy to other people, while yours just keeps draining away. No one's topping off your tank, and it's like you're stuck in a loop where your own well-being is always on the back burner. Think about it. People don't appreciate it the way you think they do. People are used to you being the yes person, so they take it for granted. You don't get extra points for constantly giving. You don't get a gold star for being the one everyone leans on, and you sure as hell don't get a reward for your exhaustion. People will keep asking, and they'll keep taking, because why wouldn't they? You've conditioned them to expect it. And in doing so, you're becoming a shadow of the person you once were. It gets worse when you start feeling guilty for not being able to do it all. But guilt is a thief. It steals your peace. It makes you feel like you owe everyone something. And at the same time, you don't owe anyone your mental health or your time if it's costing you more than you can afford. Guilt will keep you stuck in a cycle of overcommitment, where you're never fully present anywhere because you're stretched too thin. Now, I know you're probably thinking, but I'm just trying to be a good friend, be a good family member, or be a good partner. And yeah, I get it. Being there for people is important. No one's saying you shouldn't be a good person. But there's a fine line between being a caring individual and completely losing yourself in the process. That's where things get dangerous. That's where you stop being you and start being the version of yourself that others need you to be. And when you've given so much of yourself away, there's nothing left to give. So how do you change this? How do you stop this endless loop of people-pleasing? First, you have to understand that saying no is not the end of the world. In fact, it's the beginning of taking your life back. It's about reclaiming your time, your energy, and your sense of self. Saying no doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you a person who's finally putting themselves first. It's about learning that it's okay to have boundaries and that you don't have to apologize for protecting your mental health. I get it, though. It's hard. It feels uncomfortable. You might feel like you're letting people down or that you're somehow being selfish. But self-care isn't selfish. You can't pour from an empty cup. If you're constantly running on fumes, how are you supposed to show up for others in a meaningful way? It's like trying to build something with no foundation, and eventually, it's gonna crumble all over the place. So, take a step back. Start with small no's. It doesn't have to be a dramatic shift. Just a little, I need some time for myself here and there. Slowly, you'll start building those boundaries up, brick by brick. And as you do, you'll feel more in control, more at peace, and more you. Because at the end of the day, your time, your energy, and your happiness are yours. Don't let anyone else take them without your permission. Because if you keep saying yes to everyone else, you're going to lose the most important person in your life, you. Anyway, I'm done yapping. If you want more of this, hit like so I know you actually enjoy me running my mouth. Otherwise, I'll just sit here and have an existential crisis in silence. Your call. And subscribe for more wake-up calls.